Time is 7 o'clock. The meeting is being called to order. The public portion of the meeting begins. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law is enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the business administrator, board secretary, has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having date, time, and place thereof posted at the municipal building, communicated to the Herald News, the Record, and filed with the clerk of the Borough of Hawthorne. Roll call, please.
Joseph Carr. Absent. Alice Clavijo.
Here.
Michael Doyle.
Here.
Jennifer Ehrentraut.
Here.
Abigail Goff.
Here.
Erica Mulkey-Colzan.
Here.
Anthony Palouse.
Here.
Gazelle Vega.
Here.
Marco Totero. Absent. We have a quorum.
Can you join me for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting regulations. During each regular meeting, 2 opportunities are provided for citizens to ask questions and to make comments. During the first opportunity, or at the end of the agenda, the meeting is open to the public for the purpose of addressing items listed for approval on this agenda only. The second opportunity occurs just prior to adjournment, when citizens may address any subject matter that is pertinent to and or directly related to the operation of the school district. Persons wishing to speak must, upon being recognized, rise, state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments and questions shall be addressed to the board president or the presiding officer and shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by members of the public at the time they are raised, but will provide a response if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Please note that the board will not respond to comments regarding students or board employees in light of the privacy rights held by those individuals. Moreover, the board discourages comments about such individuals and will not be responsible for such comments. Members of the public who choose to speak during the public session should carefully consider their comments, since they could be held personally liable for any statements they make. Finally, please note that in accordance with district policy, the board will not officially comment or respond to any matter mentioned unless it can confirm that the matter has been first brought to the attention of the appropriate school personnel in an attempt to resolve the issue. Public be heard, agenda items only. Seeing no one, entertain a motion for the approval of minutes for the June 24th, 2025 regular meeting, both public and private.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Goff.
Second.
Second by Ms. Ehrentraut.
We're gonna do rock, paper, scissors.
Any discussion?
You get the next.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carr. Absent. Mr. Clavijo.
Yes.
Mr. Doyle.
Yes.
Ms. Ehrentraut.
Yes.
Mrs. Goff.
Yes.
Ms. Mulkey-Colzan.
Yes.
Mr. Palouse.
Yes.
Mrs. Vega.
Yes.
Mr. Totero. Absent. Motion passes.
Thank you. Correspondence, I don't believe we've had any. Reports, my pleasure to hand the floor over to our new superintendent, Mr. McNally. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, staff, and community members. It's my privilege to present my first superintendent's report. As I wrap up my first week and a half in this role, I want to take a moment to share a few brief updates. It's been both an informative and enjoyable start, and I've already learned a great deal about Hawthorne School District and community. From day one, I've been met with warmth and positivity by our staff, families, community members, and board members. It's clear that Hawthorne is a town where people take great pride in their schools and community. My priority has been getting to know our administration and to better understanding the personality and culture of every building. The early interactions I've had have only affirmed what I already believed. Hawthorne is filled with dedicated, student-centered professionals who are deeply committed to our mission. I also wanted to share some updates in regard to programming and technology. Our extended school year program is underway and off to an excellent start. Mr. Sarah has done an excellent job ensuring a smooth and positive opening. During my visit, I observed smiling students, the first that I've met in this district. that are actively engaged in their learning, supported by staff that clearly cares deeply about their success. In addition to these visits, we've been focused on a number of key summer initiatives. We're reviewing performance reports, which we'll discuss tonight, evaluating our academic data, and preparing for, believe it or not, our upcoming in-service days for staff and new teacher orientation. We're also looking closely at program opportunities to ensure that our students have access to meaningful and enriching learning experiences across all grade levels. From the technology perspective, we made significant progress this summer. Several key enhancements in terms of infrastructure, supporting instruction, and ensuring system readiness for the upcoming school year. Our security systems have improved across the district in terms of security camera service. Our vape detectors have been installed. Our internet bandwidth has been improved to ensure peak efficiency for staff and students. A new PA system at the high school is near completion, and we're starting to change out the Chromebooks and ordered some new projectors so that we're prepared for the school year. As I look ahead to the 25-26 school year, I'm excited to build upon Hawthorne's proud tradition of academic excellence, strong community engagement, and a positive school culture. I bring over 23 years of experience in education as a teacher, building administrator, and district director, and I'm eager to use that background to support the continued growth and success of our schools. In just a short time, it's clear that Hawthorne is a district grounded in purpose, pride, and people. I'm honored to serve as your superintendent and look forward to partnering with all of you as we work together to provide the best educational experience for our students of Hawthorne. To conclude my report, I'd like to introduce Dr. Trebona, Mrs. Ashenbrand, and Mrs. Smith, who will be presenting the results of last year's NJGPA, New Jersey's Graduation Proficiency Assessment and WIDA assessment. The NJGPA is a statewide assessment administered to our 11th grade students and serves as a graduation requirement. The results that we receive provide valuable insight into both individual student readiness and broader instructional trends across our schools. In addition, they will share an update on WIDA access for ELLs, which is the annual assessment administered to students identified as English language learners. I just wanted to share that upon receiving the results, Dr. Trebona, Mrs. Ashenbrand, and Mrs. Smith immediately dove into a detailed data analysis to better understand our students' performance in areas for continued growth. As a side note, they happen to enjoy data analysis more than most people enjoy a cup of coffee on a Monday morning. And that passion shows in their insights they'll be sharing tonight. And overall, the good news is we have some positive outcomes to report, and the presentation will highlight both the strengths and the strategies we'll continue to implement moving forward. So welcome to Dr. Trebona, Mrs. Ashenbrand, and Mrs. Smith.
Thank you. Data is fun. You guys know that. I'm here all the time.
Can we sit over here?
You can sit, there's printouts in front of you, or you are more than welcome to turn around and look on the big screen. That's how exciting it is.
Bring popcorn.
Bring the popcorn. I was hoping you brought the
Nobody loves
candy.
data as much as you.
I know. Come on, this is round 2, Miss Multi. So finally, we are here with smiles on our faces and about to share what I've been promising for the years that I've been here, that the steady chipping away is exactly what's seen now into bigger things. And I keep going back to that snowball analogy, and so many times we bring the snowball analogy in a bad sense of like the snowball effect, it's coming down at us hard. Well, in this sense, that snowball is coming in a good sense. We can finally see it, and we're gonna have that biggest snowball in Hawthorne for time to come. As Mr. Mignonelli shared with us, NJGPA, we know that's the 11th grade graduation requirement. Students must sit for that in order to graduate high school. They need to become graduation ready. In order to do one of the a la carte options that I've talked about for many years, they must sit for this at their junior year. If we have an entering senior that has not sat for this, coming out of state or for whatever reason from another district, we have to seat them in their senior year as well before doing any other options. With that being said, it's basically a culmination of the 9th grade Algebra 1 and Geometry standards and 10th grade ELA standards, where they're just honed in your 11th grade course through either Algebra 2 or English 11 to see the results. As always, our English scores are high. We're 88.6% graduation ready. We are above the state which is awesome, which we have significantly have been above the state for the past several years, and we have continued to show an increase in that. Math, we made a huge jump this year, which we have not seen numbers in math in high school in the 50s since I've been here. So this is a huge jump. We went from, we were in the 40s last year. We were in the 40s last year, high 40s, I want to say around 47, 48, Bonnie will have the details. But for the first time, what we're doing is we're seeing that we got to that 50% mark for math. So what that's telling us is this cohort of students are 2026 graduates. They were sitting in 6th grade when schools closed in COVID. So they were in the middle of their pre-algebra year, or that first start of pre-algebra where they're going to decide whether or not they're going on to the track of Algebra 1 in 8th grade, or the majority of these students took Algebra 1 in 9th grade. So 2 of their years were the core foundation of what they're being tested on. So we're finally seeing that gap decrease. And what we're noticing is that you have to chip away little by little. And if we don't chip away little by little, we're not gonna, you can't just look year to year without looking deeper into it to see these bigger pieces. I brought Bonnie and Ashley along today, because this is the heart of their work, 612, a testament to what they've been doing and on the ground running, but really, they take pride in tracking their students year to year to year. So we're gonna show you and tell you a little story about this data from 2023, that first year post-COVID, as 9th graders into the 2025 where we're at with that. I'll finish it out with some WIDA scores, and just to give you a sneak peek into October, which I shared at CNI, literally, I believe it was June 27th or 28th, the NJSLA data was released, and we have seen tremendous gains in all of that data, which will be presented in October. We are going through that. Additionally, we saw our highest gains in the middle school, with almost doubling, almost 100% gain in doubling their amount correct in certain math scores. So our math scores in the middle school are approaching close to 50% as well, isolated per grade level. So I just wanted to just say we're in a different trend now. We're on the other side of that snowball. We're coming down, and we're having fun with it. So I'm going to turn it over to Bonnie, and you talk about data. That's Bonnie.
This is my favorite. All right, so good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here tonight, Dr. Trebona, and all of you guys. So as Dr. Trebona was mentioning, when we really look at our scores over the last 3 years, that's really where we see our biggest growth. So I present this data in a couple of different ways, just for our different kinds of learners in the room. So if you look at the number of students graduation ready dating back to 2023, you'll see that this is the first column is not graduation ready. You're going to notice that number steadily declining, especially by percentage. And the number of students graduation ready, you almost see that inverse effect where we had 71 students not graduation ready, and now this year we have 91 students. Now, one of the factors that Dr. Trebona mentioned was that we have to have some seniors sit for this exam. And we also have some out-of-district students sitting for this exam. And so when we look at just some of the differences in those numbers, when you look at the 2025 excluding out-of-district students, these are the ones that we are teaching day in, day out in our classroom. So then if you go over to the right side of this table, you're going to notice that Hawthorne pass rate is steadily climbing from 44 to 48 to 54%, and then when you look at the students that we're seeing in our classroom every day, we're actually at a 56% pass rate, which is incredible. You're also going to notice that the differential between our state passing average and the Hawthorne passing average is shrinking, meaning we are catching up to the state, or we're improving at a faster rate than the state is improving, which is something to be very proud of. And that last row, because we do like to see, good growth, and we're going to dive into our subgroups next, but just when you do look at our general ed population, we do have a 68% pass rate there. So we're actually exceeding the state average by 4% in that category, which is fantastic. So certainly something to be proud of while we continue to focus our efforts for some of our subgroups. All right, so moving along, I'm not very good with clickers. But just for the more visual people in the room, so the yellow line indicates the number of students not graduation ready from 2023 to 2025. So as you see, that line is trending down. And then the green line is trending up, which is great. That is our number of students who are graduation ready. So we're having a complete flip-flop from where we were a couple years back. So that's just a little visual to support our data from our prior slide. And then just another way to see how we are catching up to the state and surpassing them with our general ed population. You can see the blue bar represents Hawthorne, the yellow bar representing the state. So in 2023, that gap was bigger, and then in 2024, it started to shrink. 2025 significantly shrunk. And then as you can see with our general ed students outperforming the state average. Okay, so on this slide, what we, as Dr. Tribona mentioned, we look individual students, not just as a whole grade level, what are our trends. So I went back a couple of years to when these current juniors, well now rising seniors, took their NJSLA in their freshman year. So yes, they were coming out of COVID. This was their first year of the Hawthorne High School experience for them. And so what you'll see here is that giant yellow bar of these students their freshman year who took Algebra 1. And those were the students who were not considering meeting the expectation on the NJSLA. Well, when you fast forward 2 years, that bar has shrunk and the blue has increased, showing that students who are not passing, meeting the expectation in their freshman year, are now meeting that expectation. So that growth we've had, even from 9th grade, tracking these particular students, has been very significant. With the pass rate of their Algebra 1 exam only being around 20%, now their pass rate on the GPA was 57%. And 85 individual students made gains from their raw score on the NJSLA to their raw score on the NJGPA.
130 something.
Yes.
Out of only 130 something.
Yes. So 60% of students made gains. So then this is our subgroup data, which I just want to throw out there. That information to the right is very critically important in understanding this graph, because it looks like, by and large, our subgroups are underperforming because they only have, under 50% in many cases meeting the expectation. But it's important to realize how, this is like the math person in me kicking in, it's important to realize how many students we're looking at in each of those subgroups. So if you take, for example, you'll see that there's 50% pass rate for the Asian subgroup. If you look over to the right, there are only 4 students who took the test who identify as Asian, so 2 of the 4 had passed. So it's just important to see when we have a 50% pass rate on a subgroup, we want to keep in mind how many students are we really looking at. Because we can, obviously look to support those students further, but it's just important to have that information when examining the data.
We go deeper into this. A lot of times you'll realize they tell you not even to report on anything that's N under 10, because it could be identifying in a sense. So for this, we just want you to see that we are doing things, but it's important to note that it's not considered statistically significant if your data group is anywhere under 10 or 15. So that it's not a good predicting.
Okay. So just to highlight some of the interventions that we've been working on over the last 3 years, we've been making major changes to our math instruction at the high school level, not only in what the curriculum looks like, but the curricular resources that we've been using. We've been rewriting curriculum steadily. We're in the process of doing Algebra 2 right now, and geometry will be on next year's agenda. We've been adapting our instructional approaches, taking a more traditional approach out of the classroom, using more hands-on, real-world applications, making math meaningful to our students, more reflective of what they see on the NJGPA. Although not teaching to the test, this is where we want them to see that math in the real world is useful. We've also been very strategic in purposefully infusing NJGPA release items. This is like untapped potential where we know what they ask on the test. So it's important that we're exposing our students to these types of questions day in and day out. Additionally, we are in the process of constructing a new course, which is called Foundations to Algebra 2, which will be launching this fall. And we are also working on our students who are rising juniors. We adopted a freshman math lab this past year to target students who we know have weaker foundational skills in algebra to better prepare them for their upcoming years. And finally, one other thing to note that we did this year, now this is not reflective of this particular data that we're reporting on today, but just something else that we've been doing, is we're running a senior math lab. So we take our students that did not pass NJGPA junior year, pulling them into a small setting during a study hall period. If they've opted not to take a math during their senior year, we provide them with some additional support in completing their portfolio and also giving them some last push to sit for the NJGPA in the fall. And I just want to note that of the 9 additional students that passed last year in the fall administration of the NJGPA, 4 of those 9 students were students that sat for the math lab course. So that math lab definitely is helping. The other 5 students were enrolled in a math class where they were getting their preparation for NJGPA in that class. All right, so just some notable achievements for math, and then I will wrap it up. Our average passing score, so the average passing score in general, the passing score in general is 725. Our average passing score for our high school juniors was 730. So we are, again, not just passing by the skin of our teeth, but we are solidly having an average passing score. We had 20% of students increase from their NJSLA score to their NJGPA score by over 20 points. So that's significant growth for a lot of these students. Of the 6 students that increased their score by more than 50 points, 5 of them were classified students or ML students. So these are some of our students making the biggest growth from freshman year to junior year. Over a 3-year period, our pass rate for economically disadvantaged students increased by 10%. Our pass rate for Hispanic students has increased by 6.4%. And the state passing average has increased by 3%, while the Hawthorne passing average has increased by 10%. So again, well outshining the gains of the state, which we're very proud of. Just some final notes, I guess. So what we noticed when we really disaggregated all this data is that the proper placement for students in courses is so critical. 100% of our students in pre-calc CP passed the NJGPA. 95% of our students in Algebra 2 Honors passed the NJGPA. We then said there's this group of students that we need to better support, the lower performing students, and so thus this creation of this Foundation of Algebra 2 class, which is based around our key concepts that we know are addressed on the NJGPA. And we also know that the math lab that we implemented this past year, we're going to continue to implement this year to hopefully get a few more students in the fall to pass through this pathway as well. All right, without further ado, I will turn it over to Ms. Smith to share her glowing report.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'm the closer with ELA. The way that I approach analyzing data is actually the same tactic and strategy that I used when I used to teach my kids Shakespeare. When you're analyzing, a huge monologue from a character and it just seems really overwhelming and there's all this detail, you have to zoom in and zoom out at the same time, and that's kind of the theme of this presentation, both when it comes to analyzing these math and ELA scores and kind of, getting the big takeaways. So just returning to this slide for a second, to remind you, we're back to ELA now. 88.6% graduation ready, which I know is, looks really strong, and we're happy to say that's been consistent over the past 3 years. We've been hovering around 90, sometimes it's 90, 89, 88.6 for the past 3 years, so we're really excited about that. But just looking at that alone, I don't want, the past 3 years, I don't want people to assume, oh, so we're strong, so we're good, we're just gonna, keep the journey going, and there's actually a lot of growth when you dive down into that number, so I don't want that number and that consistency to be misleading. We've actually made some major gains as well within that good news. So here is our NJGPA ELA performance by subgroup this year in 2025, the current juniors that took it. Again, the end values are there. I know Bonnie, front-loaded it very well, so I won't go into the significance of that. The takeaways here is that we're happy to report that the vast majority, if not all of our subgroups, are doing very well. It's not just one subgroup or a couple. We are succeeding across the board, and I feel that that is a testament to the work of our department. We've been focusing on a couple subgroups specifically that I'm going to highlight in a moment, so seeing those gains and those numbers is really encouraging. So an overview, and I promise I won't read all of this, but some of the intervention strategies that we employed for the past 3 years that have kind of culminated into this moment is we as a department have really focused on developing high quality skills-based assessments. Anyone who's a former humanities teacher, I was a former English teacher, we love our content, we love our books, we love our stories, and what we love about teaching our subject is providing those authentic learning experiences for students. We want them to love to read and love to discuss. And when teachers hear, oh, we're focusing on data and skills, they think, again, kind of what Ms. Ashenbrand said, we're teaching to a test. And so we've really worked hard as a department over the past 3 years to really come together and find a way to bring in that creativity, keep those authentic experiences, but marry it with skills-based assessments and how that actually, it can be a really creative process. So we've collaborated and we developed through, modeling formative, summative, and EMPA as our end of arcing period assessments together and creating guides and examples that we now share with everybody. It's actually encouraged people to go beyond those EMPAs, those midterms and finals-esque assessments, and now have it, permeate everything that they're doing throughout the year. And we've been bridging on with data days and things like that. So that's been going really, really well. And I think our department has realized, oh, here's how those two things fit together. We're not teaching to a test. When we dove into the data as well, specifically breaking down the types of questions our students were struggling with the most, and again, we did this with data days as well, there were a lot of patterns when it came to vocabulary and language conventions, as well as reading nonfiction, reading comprehension with nonfiction specifically. So again, as a department, we worked together, we did a curriculum rewrite to infuse mandatory vocab lists, and teaching strategies for vocabulary specifically. And again, marrying those thematic novel units and teaching those stories, but making sure we're building that critical vocabulary as well. Teachers, through professional development, became very familiar with NJSLA questioning terminology, so not just vocab that they should know to answer the questions for critical reading, but also the kind of vocabulary that the questions are using. When they're asking for things like inferences, if they're saying, what is the author implying, sometimes, especially at the middle school level, they don't know what those words are actually asking them. So teachers are, infusing that into their assessments and their activities, so they're really exposed to it by the time they're taking it on the NJGPA. We had a big push for writing for the past 3 years, and especially this year, I would say this one was, that was a big focus for us throughout our professional development and our department meetings, because what we realized is, in looking at our curriculum, we were preparing students, to be strong writers when it came to long-term essays, right? Because we were thinking of preparing them for college and beyond. So they have a week or two to write a paper, and yes, that is important because writing is a process, and that there's skills in that process for sure. But then they're turning around on the NJSLA and the NJGPA, and they're expected to answer a prompt 40 minutes, figure out a thesis, figure out the organization of it really quickly. And when we were talking as a department, we weren't necessarily prioritizing that kind of writing, at least not on a consistent basis. So both with curriculum rewrites and also working together to kind of align both vertically and within the grade level teaming, we have decided on infusing those short-term writing assignments and what they look like, and covering the types of writing as well, because for example they have narrative writing, they have RSTs where you're working with those are research simulated tasks where you're working with sources to incorporate and things like that. So the breadth, the variety of writing, and also that process specifically we're getting students exposed to, and not just in junior year, but earlier as well. The last thing I want to note about writing is we also had the addition of AP Seminar 2 years ago, and actually this junior class was the class that took it. When we first introduced it, we infused it with English 2 honors, as some schools and districts had done that. So this class, in particular the NJGPA data, is focusing on the majority of those kids that were taking English 2 honors took AP Seminar, so it was a larger number than currently where AP Seminar is now an elective AP course. AP Seminar has been a great addition to our school program. Kids are getting hands-on experience with analyzing sources, sifting through information, supporting their claims of evidence, and working with nonfiction texts, as we mentioned before. And also that AP is offered in 10th grade, so they're getting that earlier in their education in humanities. So that's been a great addition, and we think played a role in some of the success. Lastly, one of the subgroups that we've been working with, the most and trying to see what can we do to support these students is what we did with our ML support in ELA. So small group ELA classes for ML students are now taught by a certified English teacher who is also a certified ESL teacher, Mr. Tom McKinley. So what's great is he is teaching the English curriculum, but has those ESL strategies, so he's delivering the information and presenting the information in a way that is really supporting these students, because at the end of the day, these students were coming in and they're learning English, the first level of comprehension, and then they have to know for English, the symbolism and the figurative language and the hidden meaning when they're trying to learn the first meaning. So it's been really great that they've had Mr. McKinley. And he's teaching, all the grade levels at the moment for MLs, or most of them depending on the year. So that's been a really great support system. So I mentioned some of these, just the overall notable achievements. Yes, we've been consistently hovering 90, a little bit below graduation ready the past 3 years, surpassing the state average this particular year by 9%, which is awesome. But the next two bullets are the ones I feel the most pride for. The fact that 86.8% of our Hispanic Latino subgroup, passed ELA. That's high. That's fantastic. And when we were looking at the data in the past, CUSAC and all those things like that was a subgroup that we really wanted to ensure that we were supporting, and we had an opportunity, to show growth. So I'm happy that panned out. And then another one we're really proud of: 69% of students with IEPs passed ELA, again compared to 56% last year. So math, that's 13%, 13% in 1 year. So not even across 3 years, but in 1 year. So we're really, really, happy about that. And there's been a lot of professional development with differentiation, accommodations, and it's not one thing, that is necessarily leading to these gains. It's a combination of everything. So really happy to report all of that. The last thing I want to dive into, and those last two bullets are going to kind of be shown visually in the next slide, is, again, the 90% looks great, but what I really want to show is the improvement within that 90%. So just as a recap, for the NJSLA, what they take in freshman year, and the NJGPA, just a comparison for a moment, the scoring, the 650 to 850, is the same. The cut score, the graduation ready score, is 725 for the NJGPA, 750 for the NJSLA. But the tiering in these levels that you're seeing, that's pretty consistent. So what they do, the bottom bar, 650 to 700 is considered scoring a level 1. Level 2 is 700 to 725. Level 3 is a 725 to 750, and so on. So when you're looking at the next slide, I want to show you, again, the zooming in and zooming out. I have a spreadsheet of all the students' individual scores, and I was amazed at how these kids are jumping. I had a kid that I was just looking at, 759, and they got a perfect score. So they're jumping 50 points. And going back to that, actually, the bullets themselves, 32% of all students, so almost a third of our students, jumped by 50 points or more. That means they're not just increasing their scores, they're jumping tiers, which is wonderful. So in looking at this particular class, in 2023, when they were freshmen, the high school inherited them. It was pretty evenly distributed, level 1, level 2, but if you look at the chart on the side, that gives it, the end values, the numbers. So 25 students level 1, 31 students level 2, and so on. Very few students at a level 5, which is that 800 to 850 range. But then you see, again, those bars, how level 4, which is pretty high, right, and is obviously meeting expectations, 77 kids and 35 kids are jumping to level 5, so the numbers really flip. And we have very few kids at the level 1 or level 2 by the NJGPA the junior year. So from freshman year to junior year, they've jumped so much. And yes, we're doing great with the meeting expectations and the graduation ready, but I look at this and I'm saying they're growing. Whether they're already meeting expectations or they're really, really struggling, they are moving, which is the most important.
We're still hitting our successful students.
Yes. Everyone is being challenged, everyone is growing, which is the goal. And that's why, in ELA, we are riding high on these lovely numbers, but we are certainly not settling or being complacent. We are, when I share this with the department, they're going to be so excited, and they're just going to be more motivated to keep pushing. So I think that wraps up ELA, and I'm going to shift back to Dr. Tribona.
This is 2 seconds. So again, the WIDA access is given anywhere between February and April, the end of April. basically, the score reports come in the beginning of June, that's why we're reporting it now to meet it. It kind of doesn't fit with why we're doing this, but district-wide, they get measured in 5 different areas, and in each area they get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Those areas are then broken down into oral language, oral fluency, reading comprehension, and then it's given out an overall score. In order to exit WIDA, you need a 4.5. They typically say you should be in an ML program anywhere from 3 to 5 years if you're succeeding properly. When we're reporting, I know this is a little small and blurry, you'll notice I only have certain subgroups up there because some of our subgroups are less than 10, and we can't report on that as it's identifiable. But of this, we're looking at students that now exited base. So we have 18 students score a 4 or higher, and we had 4 student exit with scores above 4.5, and 14 students could possibly exit when we leave in September based on the WIDA model. And what you need to realize is that of these students, we had 116, 37 of them were new to Hawthorne last year. So we had 37 new entries last year that brought us to 116. Now, did we have some exits? Yes, like it's a very transient population, but realizing that we had to test language proficiency on students that we met in September. Of these 116 district-wide, we had 30, I believe it was 32 or 33 entries all over the summer in the course of the school year. And you have to test as long as they come in within 2 weeks left of the administration period. So we had a student come in March, start in Hawthorne, and we're literally giving them a state assessment the next day. So it gives you a little perspective. But we're getting there. And that's it. We are done. Any questions?
I don't have a question,
Yes.
but I have a comment. I sat through many of these, and I'm always riveted by your data, Dr. Pona. It is
Thank you.
truly riveting. This is the most optimistic and truly heartwarming presentation of this kind that we've seen.
We'll get ready for October because I can't wait.
Oh, and I mean, I've seen it in other districts. I know Erica and I will often watch other districts' meetings. I watch my own where I teach. I watch their meetings. This type of growth is astonishing, and we cannot thank you all enough. I mean, the staff is amazing. They are the implementers, but you guys are the visionaries, and really the support for them, it is tremendous. And we don't thank you enough. And this is, like, I could get choked up. We've seen small gains, always gains.
No, exactly. But
This is
I have to invite them
monumental.
here, and I will prepare you, like, Matt comes into my office all the time right now, and literally, I have like spreadsheets color-coded, he must think I'm a nut, literally, that's what I've been doing for 2 weeks. But we got in such a, it's almost like we're on a high right now, because like we got this data, we're finally seeing it. The work that we put in last year when we took away lesson plans and put in those databases, like I was saying, we cannot wait to share this with the staff, because it's them, and we kept saying like, just stick it out with us, like, and I kept saying that, just stick it out with us, it's coming,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm saying, it's that reverse
When
snowball.
you're
we
in
finally
it,
see
when you're in the thick of it, and you're like, okay, we're changing, and we're
0.4%
learning,
doesn't
and
mean anything, but now when we
Right.
track it, we're
Yeah.
starting to see that, so
Right.
we're all just like, it's such a great, like, turning point, finally.
Well, thank you you all. I mean, truly, this is really, I mean, you don't have to be a data person to see how tremendous the growth is here. The math has always been, and I think that's a statewide, probably nationwide, trend. But this is so amazing to see.
We're
Truly.
just starting to see kids get used to the shifts that we made in the instruction.
Yes.
And that idea of it starts in kindergarten and then first grade and second grade, you're not reteaching the procedures. So if we're shifting our instruction, it makes a lot of sense that you're not gonna see this effect
Sure.
until it becomes more like
Yeah.
routine. It's kind of like medicine. The first day you take it, you're like, all right, maybe I feel better, maybe I don't, a little bit. And then like all of a sudden, it's
And
like
you
that.
had said that when you change like the physics first and the
Yeah.
math stuff.
You can't analyze it.
You
year
can't,
one.
you can't, but this jump is really huge. Thank you all.
we're already at the beginning.
It is the beginning. No, but it is.
Yes.
I think what makes it more commendable is that, like you stated, you're dealing with students that are brand new to Hawthorne, and they're not even coming in as freshmen, right? I've met a couple, they're coming in as juniors.
Juniors or seniors.
Yeah.
In that bit. And that's what I think has opened our eyes a lot into, and it's not a knock on really disaggregating the data, but it's so important to look at, if we're trying to measure our success, then we need the people that are exposed to it. Our out of districts, nothing wrong, they're in the environment that they need, but we need to have our educators not be defeated by looking at data that is skewing it. So we have to pull out those outliers, not to say it doesn't mean it, but to show where the work's actually being seen.
Got a question. As far as the split in the high school, I think at some point it was almost 50 non-white. Do you know if that's changed?
I believe, I can pull it up when we're in the course of this, but I believe we're continuing to surpass that and that number becomes larger. Like, I believe we've tipped where our majority may have been Hispanic now. I think we just tipped that in the last bunch that we did for the performance report, I think, from last year. If not, we're very close. But we're definitely non-white below 50%.
Thank you. Another question. At what point, if they do these numbers make it into like the, those ratings that are out there, like betterschools.org or
Yeah,
NICH?
I don't know offhand.
Yeah.
What happens with that, I know a lot of them are just, they pull from the performance report and they pull from the scores, and Mr. Mignonelli may better serve on this question, but a lot of those are getting like not accurate pieces, and the problem with it is people see it and believe it, and then when you read the star, it's like, this data was from a third of something that was like a third.
In 1999.
Yeah.
Like, it's
So I
not,
would
they're
want,
not
believe me,
accurate.
if we get one, I'm posting that all over the
Yeah,
place.
right.
But I don't know what makes us eligible for that. Sometimes it's paid stuff too,
It's
where
the
they
same
send you the
formula
stuff
they
to
use for
purchase
the
it.
budget for this, for our funding.
But what,
It's
what's-
unknown.
What's unfortunate, and I agree with you, I mean, it's one number and it doesn't tell the whole story. But those of us that are in the real estate industry,
It's a seller.
It's the first thing they post,
Oh, it's on all of the, it's a seller.
Yeah.
I'll look into that. We'll find one that we're gonna get on. I'll find one.
Another question, besides supporting the work that's currently being done, and I know there's usually a dollar amount attached to it, what else can we be doing as a district from a funding perspective that could augment that
So
effort?
funding wise right now, and I don't ever want to say this, we're okay from this point with what we have. And I know we're not okay overall, but like in the curriculum and instruction point, we are good right now where we can maintain, because a lot of what we are now is we need time. And what we're doing, and we're looking at how can we, yes, we have to pull people out of the classroom sometimes, but if we can work with these teachers is better than any program that puts a dollar amount on it. We just need to continue this collaboration. I have teachers in my office today that are doing standards work, and their fourth grade was going, okay, we're looking at the data, we're saying, what do we need to change? We don't want to change that much because we have huge gains right now. What needs to be tweaked? So a lot of it for now is just time and the people present. So, I mean, you're talking $34 an hour to pay people for curriculum work. We got that.
I can't second Dr. Savona more, because the humanities, our professional development has really been in-house for the most part, especially on the high school level. It's me sharing a lot of my resources, and then, staff are sharing their, again, it's become a really collaborative atmosphere, but we need the time, built into the schedule. I only get department meetings once a month, and sometimes those are, necessarily substituted for other things, HGA and things like that. And then professional development days are obviously, as much as we can, but are also more spread out, so it's just finding time for sure.
So we're looking at a lot of purposeful, a lot because I did cut some of my PD budget. We don't know what title funds are coming in, so we have two factors there. But that's always been my mantra, standing here saying, like, I'd rather have the time to work with the teachers and have the teachers and the people over any kind of product that we can buy.
Our staff has the brain power.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to all get in the same room with a large enough chunk of time.
And they need to see this, they need the motivating piece.
Sure,
This is gonna bring us, like,
absolutely.
because, it's discouraging, like, you get there and you're just like, how many times can I do this and not see the gains? And that's gonna discourage us, so I can't imagine the true frontline people.
This should be like the open presentation.
We're gonna have something out there.
For
we're talking
opening
about getting it
day.
out there to the public.
When everybody's
We're
back.
gonna, talk about tweaking and, publicizing. We're gonna figure out what, our best percentage is for, a tagline article out there. I'll get Misty Geronimo on us. We'll get something out to tap into, for, Soar Sluice or something to tag it.
Yeah,
Because like I said, data, this data's true, I promise, but data can say anything you want.
right.
Maybe look at redoing the calendar and building in some half-day PDs?
Yes.
I mean, my
Well, that
school
was one of
does
the things that, Mr. Vianelli and I had spoken about when we've done some of our transition, is like, where do we need it? And a lot of what I say is, we just need like time,
Yeah.
and like, we went back to in the past 4 years, when the Mondays, they weren't staying every Monday, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's in the contract. We
Yeah.
have them, we need to keep them, and I'm not doing it to be whatever, but if we have such valuable time, and you have to be here till 3:30 on a Monday, unfortunately, I'm gonna keep you till 3:30.
Right.
And I'm gonna make it purposeful, and that's what we've been trying to do.
My district does one Tuesday a month, because that's our meeting days, is a half-day PD day. The kids go on a half-day schedule, and we stay 3
Wow.
to 4:30.
I mean, I definitely think that's something that financially is one of the best things we can build in to support ourselves.
Yep.
And we have talked going back and forth, but so much of the reflection from teachers, especially elementary, is across the buildings, the time with the other first grade teachers, the
Yeah.
time with the other fourth grade teachers.
Right.
So that's huge.
Because the other PD days, you're either being proactive, trying to at the beginning of the
I
year,
have my idea, I
reactive.
mean, we have to learn it, so we're
Exactly,
in.
but when you do it more frequently, and listen, I think the once a month, I think even Paquonic has scaled it back. I don't think we have 10 now, I think we have maybe 5.
Right.
Sporadically, monthly,
And more
there's
so in
not.
the second half, because we're overloaded in the first half. We have
Right.
September,
Yeah.
October, November, and then it's like, all right, we'll see you next September.
Building, and, you know, the community, it would be a little bit of a learning curve for the community too, because of a daycare, but if we are thoughtful about how we roll it out, and maybe we
Yeah.
can provide some aftercare opportunities for the younger students or something, I think if we build it into the culture and, you know, make it a priority, I think it's doable.
Just as encouraging as the gains, it's also very encouraging to know that what we have in place, you know, it suffices. You know, so from our end, you know, we'll do the best that we can to be protected from a financial perspective, so
Right.
that we can, you know,
Continue this and not have that be a setback. Like right now, we've gotten that ball rolling. Last time we were like this was right before COVID. Like we need to just keep the momentum going. That's why money-wise, we're good over here.
I actually have a comment and
Sure.
a question. So, I was actually here last year when you did this presentation as a parent and a community member, and the gains are extremely, it brings happiness, right? Especially being a parent that has kids within the district. So I do look forward to next year and the continued growth. But my question is, with regards to the targeted ML support,
Yes.
when did that start?
So that started in the high school. That's only in the high school. So
Okay.
this is particular
This
to.
is, sorry, this is the first year.
Yeah, this is the
Okay,
first
this
year.
is
the first
So this
Okay.
was the first set of students that had taken a test on it. So we were lucky enough that back 2 years ago, we used Title III funds to do a supplemental ML teacher.
Okay.
Unfortunately, our Title I, we had enough in it. Our Title I funds diminished, we couldn't do that. Mr. McKinley then, who was that person, also had an language arts ELA certificate. We needed an ELA teacher. That's when we like, all of a sudden the light bulb went on and we're like, wait a minute. And we started doing this. We had piloted it in the middle school once when we had the double teachers. Unfortunately now financially, we don't have the double teachers, so it's only at the high school.
Okay.
At the elementary, which I will speak to later, what we're doing is we're training all of our teachers in sheltered instruction so that they're given the tools, because we feel in K1 and 2, it's more important for them to be in their phonics lesson than to be pulled out double high intensity. So we're keeping the ML students with their regular sheltered instruction trained teacher during phonics, and then pulling out for supplemental ESL support, which then I can do some targeted support with students that need additional.
Okay, perfect. And then with regards to the WIDA, you said that we'd get an updated information in October, is that correct?
No, the
Okay.
rest of the stuff. So for
Oh,
WIDA, you have, the whole thing is, when we get score reports to a district, I have 60 days for CUSAC to report it to the board.
Okay,
So it was either throw WIDA on this, or have me back in August. I love you all, but I don't think you want to hear me in August.
right.
September's too late for our 60 days, and then I'm back in October with the reports that come in for the next one. So it's kind of like mishmash that whenever the reports come in, I have 60 days to report.
Got it.
So
Okay, and then the WIDA is only for the high
MS.
school?
No, that's all. So
Oh,
that has
okay.
everybody, that's like K1.
The K to
yes.
12?
So,
Okay.
and it's normal in K1 and 2 that we don't have kids exiting out of that. Because if they had the oral language and comprehension, they would have been identified in the first place.
Yep, right.
So we more like to see the exiting when we have kids in the program for a consistent 3 to 5 years,
Okay,
are the best ones to measure.
okay, perfect. I look forward to the ML support, especially in the high school and the elementary school, because like you guys mentioned, the Hispanic community here is growing a lot. And, you know, we want to make sure that we're targeting everyone.
And one of the things that we realized is that we sent some of our BSI teachers in this thing, in the elementary, to the sheltered instruction, and that it's good teaching strategies. It's good for all of your kids. So we're getting like a bang for your buck. We're paying for it through Title III, but they are getting solid kind of those modifications that you should be using on every student, not just those that have issues.
So what's going on in the middle, sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm good,
In
thank you.
middle school.
Now that we don't have the dual teachers, what are they doing?
So middle school it's the same thing. 6 through 12 has always been, there's 2 ways that you could do it. So for MLs, you either need to have a high intensity program, which is normally run K to 5, where they have 2 periods per day
Right.
taught by an ESL teacher.
Right.
We were finding that to be too much out time
Right.
of the mainstream where they're learning a lot of their interactional speaking.
Right.
The other model is you do sheltered instruction where you have basically, you have an ESL teacher, teach them 1 period of ESL support, and then their content area teachers are trained in strategies to support the ML teacher. So that's always been 6-12.
Okay.
K-5, we realized we put that sheltered instruction training in because we thought it was more important for the student to be with their grade level peers, learning phonics with their peers. If we're teaching a first grader how to read, doesn't matter if they know English or Spanish, we're
Right.
still reading sounds.
Phonics is,
Yes.
that is.
So that's why we
You
should do
meant,
that.
you just said something, to one of Giselle's questions about, we don't have the money for that anymore.
The title ones, the way that we had it.
I thought it was dual teachers or something in the middle
So
school.
in the middle school, what we did was we paid through Title I when we had extra funds and we had a floating ESL teacher.
Okay.
And
that's
that
what I was
ESL
missing.
teacher went between the middle school in Washington, which had our highest populations and were Title I targeted.
Right,
As our Title I funds dropped, we had to eliminate that position, so we don't have that
I
extra
see.
support that we were
so
bringing
it
in.
was one person.
We only have
push-
half a teacher.
Okay, wow.
In the high school level.
No.
So we have 3 teachers district-wide ML. We have one who is Roosevelt and Jefferson,
Yeah.
one Washington, which is our largest elementary population,
Right,
one teacher, half Lincoln, half high school, which has a huge load, that's Miss Dios. And then what supported that was we were able to have Mr. McKinley teach
because he's.
English, so it counts as one of their
Yikes.
supports. Yes,
Talk about
that's somewhere, but
Stretching. Yeah.
we had to be creative
Yeah.
financially to meet the needs of the students to the best of their ability
Yeah.
while only having 3 teachers. for
And I
160
commend you
students.
guys, because.
Yeah, that was,
And
You
that,
have to think outside the box,
that
yes.
traveling and.
116 students that technically need 2 periods per day.
Yeah,
You have to think outside the box.
I think even if we had more money, there's nobody out there with that cert. So that's a whole separate issue. If we were looking for someone actively, it would be difficult to fill a spot.
right.
So we're very
Right.
lucky to have the 3 or however many people
We
we
have
have.
4 on record that
That's
have
amazing.
certification.
And then the unique Mr. McKinley
Yes.
situation with the dual cert.
Yeah,
of
he's
English
a
and
jet.
ESL.
He's a-
That's very
jet.
desirable. And
Yeah.
when we found that, we literally looked, we were like, wow, and that's, what we tried it
A
out.
unicorn.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That type of funding is crucial, right?
We've already talking.
Yeah.
So from what I've heard and I've shared, Title I funds have been allocated to the state. The state is not releasing them. Again, this is what I read up on in my knowledge. The state is not releasing them in fear of the federal government may ask for them back. Federal government has not released Title II through 4 funding. 5, we don't get 5. That was that bill that came out 2 weeks ago on June 30th that he did not pass, that the president blocked the dissemination of that. So as of right now, we have nothing. We're starting to talk of what this could impact because we have about, if you go by FTE, 3.5 positions that are funded out of title between across 3 schools. So this is a conversation we've been having.
Concerning.
One last thing, because I guess you can't hear thank you enough. Thank you for the presentation and also all the hard work to get us here. So I know we heard this with our curriculum and instruction committee meeting with Dr. Tribona. It was like one of our best meetings, so
I'm so
glad you
sorry I
missed it.
wasn't there.
But our first one with our new superintendent, and it was so excited, like, it's been mentioned already, but for the public, for anyone that's out there on YouTube and watching, these are really significant increases. I've only been on the board for 4 years, but it's been the most encouraging and exciting one, and we'll just call you all the dream team, right? And we are excited to see what's ahead, so thank you again.
We need the admin group chat, the A team, so we can
Yeah.
sit with that.
Yeah. I didn't want to save that to general comments, just in case you guys leave by the end of the meeting, so thank you all so much, we really appreciate
Thank you,
it.
thank you.
Yes, thank you once again. This reminds me of, I saw a post out there that it was on a thread where, a social media post on a thread where college students that are participating at the collegiate level are being recognized. And some of the comments were, don't necessarily believe the hype, as far as like what we can't deliver as a product. I think, even from this perspective, right, not just on the athletic end, but on the curriculum end, there's a lot that staying in Hawthorne has to offer. All right, thank you, ladies, appreciate that. Moving on, Ms. Goff, curriculum and instruction, please.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Queen Anne Curriculum and Instruction recommend the following resolutions: CI 1 through CI 6 on page 3, continued on to page 4, and CI 7 on page 4. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second?
Second by Ms. Vega, any discussion?
Alex, I have a question. Regarding CI 3, so that is the tuition for Passaic County Technical Institute. We have 220 students at $10,864 per student for, I'm just reading it for the public, for a cost, total cost of $2,390,080. Has that tuition been updated? Because it looks like the $10,864 per student, and this is a general question, maybe we might not have the answer, but that was the same cost for the 23-24 school year, so has there been any change or increase, or is that still the same amount? I know there was a reduction, this might be for Pat, or it stayed the same.
Or
Without-
was it a temporary reduction for that 1 year? or
No.
was it?
It
No,
was
because
a
it was
reduction.
over 11,000 before the
Right.
reduction 3 years ago.
It was, but then there's usually been an increase, so there was no increase this year for the upcoming school year?
That's the amount that Passaic County Tech gave us.
Okay, all right.
It must include some sort of reduction. So this was what it was in 2023?
23.
So then there's been no increase
Yeah,
then?
that was the $500 deduction, but I didn't know, because usually they increase it every year, so I know that it's still the highest that we've ever paid, and
Well,
that
and
doesn't even
220
include,
is an estimate.
doesn't even include busing.
250 students is an estimate
Okay.
of who, because the high school doesn't truly know who's going until they just don't show up on September, whatever day. So that number is somewhat fluid. And then if the overpay, they give us the money back the following year.
Okay.
But I think your recollection is on point. The reduction that we had was only a couple $100.
Yeah.
It was marginal, if that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
no,
that's a very,
It's the largest number we've ever
2.4
had.
billion, not even including busing.
Busing.
It's worth rehashing, right? So 220 students, that equates to $2.3 million, and it doesn't include our transportation.
So you put 50 students on a bus and you do the math on how many buses that means.
Just wanted to
Now
ask, I
we're
was
doing
curious.
improving it, and we were so happy about the data.
Still happy.
We were very happy about the data. I'm so happy I have that to hold on to.
Can we go back to that quick?
Put the slides back up. Put them back up.
Anybody else?
I did want to say something, Mr. Clavijo. I just want, for anyone who's looking on or possibly looking at the agenda, who's not here in person or maybe is here in person, that I just want to explain CI6, the non-public textbooks. This money flows through the district. It is not Hawthorne Public Schools money. It's not part of our budget. We are not having to use our money. This is money that is flowed through our district to these districts for the purchase of these items, of these non-public items. That does come up every year. numbers, just so that the general public knows. It's just how the state accounts for money, they flow it through the town, and then it goes to those districts.
Great, yeah, thank you for that, with noting. Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Clavijo,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Ms. Aarontrout,
Yes.
Mrs. Goff,
Yes.
Ms. Smokey Coulson,
Yes.
Mr. Palouse,
Yes.
Mrs. Vega,
Yes.
Mr. Carr, absent. Mr. Totaro, absent. Motion passes.
Ms. Arntrop, personnel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Clavijo. The following resolutions are pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. P1 and P2 on page 4, P3 through P11 on page 5, P12 through P18 on page 6. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Second by Ms. Goff, any discussion?
I have
Go ahead.
the usual comments. There are several new hires on here, so welcome to Hawthorne if you're watching. We look forward to joining our team. So quite a few positions, non-instructional aides, bus aides, paras, guidance counselor, teacher with student disabilities, I don't want to miss anyone, teacher assistants, so welcome.
I have a question. Could you remind me on P10, it says it's guidance counselor hired to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Olivia Wagner. When did she resign? I don't,
It's on the same agenda,
is it?
It's above it.
on page 5.
P9.
Maybe you have, it's on the updated agenda. Did you print that one, Alex?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that just didn't recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I mentioned this a while back about possibly putting start dates for teachers when they resign or retire for different reasons, so we could thank them for their years of service. Also, so we know as a board and the public knows if we're having an issue in an area, for example, middle school, special education, if there is, I'm not saying there's an issue, I'm using an example, if there's a high turnaround rate, I would like to know. So like, I don't know when we hired this guidance counselor, I wanna say it was recently, but I don't know, so I'm not gonna say that. Is it a possibility, we don't need a month and day, but is that something we could do? I don't know, I've asked prior, if that's possible. I would like to thank them. Also, again, I'd like to know if there's a problem area. And it would be helpful to then see if we need to look into something.
I actually second that, if we can get that information.
Like behaviorists, for example. Really hard to find a behaviorist.
I mean, it might be possible, but logistically, maybe it's.
It's a lot to ask on
I
the,
don't know, maybe, I wouldn't be,
on the
it might be
board search.
burdensome, right? I mean.
Yeah.
But it's a good point.
Yeah.
If
And it wouldn't
something-
have to be for, like, everything, like, if it's a maternity leave, I don't need to know. It's just, resignations and retirees, you know. That's all, it's just a thought, thank you.
Something to consider. Thank you for that. Anybody else? No? Roll call, please.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Ms. Aarontrout,
Yes.
Mrs. Goff,
Yes.
Ms. Smokey Coulson,
Yes.
Mr. Palouse,
Yes.
Mrs. Vega,
Yes.
Mr. Carr, absent. Mr. Clavijo,
Yes.
Mr. Totaro, absent. Motion passes.
Mr. Palouse, Finance Administration, please.
Hang on one second, please.
Sorry, I sprung that on you.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Committee on Finance and Administration recommend the following resolutions, starting on page 7, F1 through F2, and over to page F3 through A5. I motion.
Moved by Mr. Palouse,
Second.
second by Erica. Any discussion?
Can I ask what F1 is for?
Yes,
Thank you.
occasionally, the state raises the amounts of money that we have to do extra purchasing work for.
Okay.
For instance, it used to be 44,000, anything that was above 44,000, we either had to go out to bid, or we had to purchase through a cooperative that had gone out to bid for those types of items.
Okay.
And for things that are within, below 15% of that threshold, we have to have at least 2 quotes before we can buy an object or service. So those amounts have been raised. Now need 2 quotes for, I think, $7,900 and above.
Okay.
And this gives the business administrator the ability to approve purchases that are within, below these thresholds.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Corbijo. For F4, the changing of the number of teaching assistants from the teacher's college to an as-needed number, so are we scaling back?
We're actually increasing the
Okay.
amount of teachers, because we found that the quality of individuals that are coming in, the service paraprofessionals, have been really great first.
That's what I was hoping. I was hoping we weren't going in the other direction. I love a good collab with the university, and I mean, we've had such positive experiences, so that's great to hear.
Ditto on that comment. It is such an exciting program and awesome to hear that. It's helpful and we're increasing it for our district.
Anybody else? No? Roll call, please.
Ms. Aaronstruck,
Yes.
Mrs. Goff,
Yes.
Ms. Moki Kulzan,
Yes.
Mr. Palouse,
Yes.
Mrs. Vega,
Yes.
Mr. Carr, absent, Mr. Clavijo,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Totaro, absent. Motion passes.
Who filled in for Mr. Carper, please? Who had claims this month?
Who reviewed claims this month? I don't know.
Yeah.
Mr. Carr.
Okay.
I didn't get any inquiry or
Okay.
discussion on that.
Okay. Moving along with the agenda, Mr. Doyle, buildings and grounds, please.
Thank you, Mr. Calvillo. Pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Committee on Buildings and Grounds recommends the following resolutions. On page 9, we have BG1, BG2, rolling over to page 10, BG3 through BG5, on to page 11, BG6. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second?
Second by Ms. Vega. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Moki Kulzan,
Yes.
Mr. Palouse,
Yes.
Mrs. Vega,
Yes.
Mr. Carr, absent, Mr. Clavijo,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Ms. Aarontrout,
Yes.
Mrs. Goff,
Yes.
Mr. Totaro, absent. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Corbijo,
Yes.
do you want me to move the bills? I just don't want there to be any, is it okay?
If you haven't reviewed them, I don't think it.
I think it needs to be tabled, though. That's the-
Mhm.
Yeah, somebody has to.
I mean, I read through them, went over them.
Of course
Oh,
you
maybe
can.
I didn't. I'm lying, just kidding.
No,
That was last
but
month.
do we have to table it or we have to,
Can't just leave it sometime.
yeah, we
Yeah, they
can't
have
leave
to be
it, we have to
approved.
make a
So
comment.
motion for the table.
Yeah.
It's a first in 13 years. It's the first time. I don't know.
So nobody looked at them.
Well, they
Only go
got
to Joe.
sent to one person.
That's,
Well,
Well,
no, they're in the board packet.
Yes,
Is it this,
like
and I
if-
did read that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, then I did
Right.
review it. If we all got it on
I
this
reviewed
agenda file, then I did look over all of them.
I'm sure you did. I know you did.
So I don't, but is that okay?
I think it is.
Yeah.
So.
So we're gonna go back to claims then. So Ms. Mulkey, claims, please?
Page 9.
Yeah, page 9, please.
So, okay, in accordance with NJAC 6A 23 to 11B, C3 and C4, CL-1 approval of the July 2025 bill list, it is recommended that the board approve the bill list for the month of July 2025.
Second.
Second by Ms. Vega. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Goff,
Yes.
Ms. Moki Kotsan,
Yes.
Mr. Paluso,
Yes.
Mrs. Vega,
Yes.
Mr. Carr, absent. Mr. Clavijo,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Ms. Aaron Trout,
Yes, with reservation regarding PCTVS, the funding, as we all know how I feel about it.
and Mr. Totero, absent. Motion passes.
Thank you, Ms. Mulkey-Coulson. Moving on to committee liaison reports, Mr. Carr's not here, so no legislative, finance, and administration. We met, we did not have an official agenda. It was more an opportunity to have a meet and greet with our incoming BA, Sandy B. Callie. That's that from that end. Mr. Doyle, do you have anything for buildings and grounds and policy, please?
Sure, policy, we have nothing but buildings and grounds did meet on July 8th. Our summer projects are all well underway at all our schools. We had the broken baseline over at the LMS that's been in one of the girls' bathrooms, that's been repaired. Today actually was our inspection for our buses, hopefully that went well, we'll wait and see how that was. Talked about our boiler maintenance at all of our schools, and to stay on top of that. Going over our referendum projects, make sure that we've dotted our i's and crossed our t's and doing the final checklists. And we also had a discussion about what grants may or may not be available for future projects and how we can go about obtaining those grants. We also had some concrete and asphalt paving going on at the various schools. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Ms. Aaron Trout, council liaison and personnel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Clavio. A few things regarding the council and the town. Hawthorne is having a Hometown Hero banner program to honor our veterans and active duty military. You can get the information on the borough website. The banners, I think it's due the end of August, but the banners will be displayed throughout town. We see that in a lot of communities, so I'm happy that we're doing that in the community. A few other reminders from the mayor and council. There are the town events, the concerts at the band shell, the farmers markets on Sundays. Save the date, our Hawthorne Day will be Saturday, September 27th. And last but not least, at the July 9th meeting, our borough engineer reported that construction was supposed to start on the hockey rink. I know that's been a big topic for years here, but there is a delay, unfortunately, due to unexpected financial hurdles with the international tariffs, as the borough has been paying for the boards and material to be stored at a facility in Canada. So, update from the council, and also for us, the delay has nothing to do with the Board of Education. It is due to storage for the boards. The next council meeting will be Wednesday, July 23rd at 7 p.m. And regarding personnel, there are still a few vacancies, I agenda. We hired several people, so we are excited about that. That concludes my reports.
Thank you, Ms. Erntrop. Ms. Goff, curriculum and instruction, and we still have superintendent search committee, so.
Yeah, I think we can get
Can remove that
He's
one.
here.
Found him.
Yeah, we got it tomorrow.
Don't get nervous, man.
No, it's a typo. I was not at the meeting, but Ms. Mulkey-Colton graciously took notes for me. I'm so sorry to have missed. If I had had access to this data beforehand, I would have been really helped. The data, the NJGPA data was reviewed. There's been a 10% increase in 2 years. They're also tracking third grade data. In ELA, they went up 48% in 2024 and 51% in 2025. Special ed scores are reported by their home address, not school. That's important because we do have special populations in certain buildings, which makes certain buildings special ed heavy, so that data flows to the home school, which is important to note. The standards-based report cards, there's PD this summer to tweak the standard grade report card using the Google form that Dr. Tribona sent out to all the elementary staff to ask for feedback, and I'll be working on that as well. And the team has already met once, and the strategic plan will be updated and posted on the website. Thank you, Ms. McColton. I'd also like to, non sequitur, but just remind my fellow board members that Kelly did ask us to complete our board evaluation by today, and only 4 people have done that at this point. So it does take a minute to do it, but it is important and valuable data.
Thank you for the reminder.
That is all.
Thank you. Ms. Mulkey-Colton, NJSBA and PCSBA, please.
I have nothing to report on either. They're very quiet over the summer. Thank you.
Mr. Palouse, anything for HEP, CPAC, and PTOs, please?
I don't, but what I will like to just do a little PSA and say that, all of these organizations are very, integral part of our education here, and they require people to volunteer your time. So if anybody would like to help out, whether it's with the PTO or HEF or CPAC, I'm sure they would really appreciate that. And, enjoy your summer, but when September comes around, if you can get involved, we'd really appreciate it. We're all volunteers up here too, so anything you can do to help out would be appreciated. Thank you.
And we all have Facebook groups.
And they all have Facebook groups. You can follow along, and a lot of times that's where I gather my information from as well, from people posting there, so that's important. Thank
It's
you.
a good plug, yes, and they're working through the summer too. I think LMS has their clothing drive coming up, a used clothing drive. So very appreciative for them, like Mr. Palouse said, and let's chip in if we can. That concludes that end of it. Moving on to public be heard. Anybody wishing to speak? See no one. We'll move on to general comments. New business, old business. Please state what that is, and you can start down by Erica. You wanna?
Yeah, just a couple things. So LMS, even though it is summertime, these PTO moms are amazing. On, this is my favorite, August 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th, you can drop off clothing in front of the school. They'll have a tent up. They're doing a clothing drive, which I always love, cleaning out the boys' closets that time of the year to get ready for school clothes in September. And they also are doing, starting today, nope, just kidding, starting a couple days ago, a Little Caesars pizza drive. So you can order ahead, and it's like kind of like a frozen pizza from Little Caesars you can throw in the oven. And that's on their, Lincoln Middle School's PTO page on Facebook. So I just wanted to add that in. And then all the schools are doing school supply kits, so you don't have to do crazy school supply shopping where people are like hitting you with cards to get the last pencil at Target or wherever else. And educators get 20% off at Target. Gotta love that week. It's my favorite. But the school supply kits, I believe we do make a small percentage off of every kit we sell. And it's customized to your child's grade. So literally everything comes in the kit. It's delivered to school. You don't have to worry. You don't have to fight anybody for folders and green notebooks that are 3 subject specific. It's all done for you. So I love that. And I like I said, I want to say I'm 99% sure I've seen it on all the PTO pages, that they're all doing it now, so that's really great. And welcome to our new superintendent on his first meeting.
Thank you.
Only a week and a half in, and here you are already. But I'm so happy that you've hit the ground running, and it seems like an amazing start. So
Thank
I
you.
hope everyone enjoys their summer. And that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Vega?
Yes, so continuing with the updates from the school, I know that Jefferson is having their Ice Pop Social tomorrow for all kindergarteners from 1 to 3 incoming kindergarteners. So if you have an incoming kindergartner going to Jefferson Elementary from 1 to 3, you get to meet the other students, the other parents, as well as the teachers. I did it when my daughter was in incoming kindergartner. It's amazing. You get to meet the teachers as well as your child goes in feeling a tiny bit better that she knows some of the students that are her classmates and, you know, future friends. I would also like to say welcome to our superintendent. Welcome, welcome. We're excited to have you here. And I know we've said it before within this meeting, but I'd like to say again, thank you so much to our A team. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I am looking forward to the continued growth. Thank you.
Mr. Doyle?
I just want to piggyback off of what Mr. Palouse said with our PTOs and all our fundraising, and specifically the Hawthorne Education Foundation. Hawthorne Education Foundation does not, they raise money for the entire school district, for all the schools, all the students, and they are constantly challenged with getting volunteers. We've been blessed over the last several years to have some steady leadership, some of which who no longer even have children in the school district, but they're still donating time. So as was previously said, enjoy the summer, but when we kick back into gear in September, strongly consider A, joining HEF, and B, maybe thinking about getting involved a little bit more on the leadership side, and it's a worthy cause. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. That includes project graduation as well, right?
Yes, it does.
I would like to just highlight something that I believe is brand new. It was just posted for the first time that I've seen, the NJIC All Academic Team. Both of my children were on the list, so I'm a very proud parent. There were around 80 Hawthorne High School students who were recognized in this post, and the criteria was that you were an athlete and you maintained a 3.75 GPA or higher out of a 4-point scale, which I think is amazing. And we had met, we spoke with Mr. Mignelli briefly, Ms. Ehrentraut and myself about highlighting students. This seems to be a more organized, like actual thing through NJIC, which is great, but any opportunity that we have to celebrate our own students, I think, is a great opportunity. But this is a really great, I think, honor to honor the student athlete, because that's not an easy task to undertake. So congratulations to all 80 members of the NJIC All Academic Team.
How many were there?
There's about 80. I mean, I just did 27.
Two of them are proud.
That's
Yeah.
student athletes that have
And it's
earned that by
all grades. I see freshmen on here, I see seniors on, so it's definitely well dispersed, it seems like. And I'd also like to, once again, as the mom of a newly graduated senior, I guess now he's technically a college freshman, I can't thank the Hawthorne school community enough. I mean, truly, the magic that Hawthorne is, you really, you can't describe it, and you get out what you put in. He is a student that took advantage of every opportunity and made connections with students and teachers and joined clubs and did things in the community and played sports, but it's thanks to the community who offered those things to him. So deeply appreciative as a newly graduated mom, as always. But it's really something you don't know until you go through that last hurdle. And you see your student getting into schools that all of these other people are getting into, in all of these other towns, and having all these other opportunities, more so, actually, truthfully, the opportunities he had with the Hackensack University, the co-op there, he met an unbelievable doctor. She's the head of now they have like a friendship. So, truly grateful to everyone who's taken the time to influence that grade and all of our students. But nonetheless, I just wanted to make sure I said thank you one more time.
3 general comments. Okay. First, I believe leadership camp is before our next meeting, so just a reminder to the public, it's Friday, August 15th for incoming middle school students, 6th graders.
The whole week.
Well, it's the whole week. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, graduation.
Graduation
From
is
at 15. So it's that whole week in August, just a reminder to sign up if you haven't yet, right? Second, I wanted to thank our interim BA, Pat. Is it correct that it's your last meeting?
Yes, this is
Okay.
my last meeting.
So
And
thank
then
you.
Sandy's going to
I
take
guess,
over.
so, yes, and Sandy, welcome. We're so happy you're here, but Pat, you've been a wealth of knowledge and experience for every question that we've thrown at you, so I wanted to say thank you for that. I was super impressed because you just hit the ground running and jumped in and really answered everything so thoroughly. So thank you for what you've done for us in the interim. Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you for the pay.
Well, you can thank yourself and pay yourself. But
Of course, and last but not least, of course, everyone's saying it, but we are so excited to have our new superintendent, so welcome again, and we look forward to working with you for years and years and years. Thank you. So excited that you're here, and it's great in the Passaic County community. So many people I see outside of town are just like so excited for you as well, and they really compliment you, and it's nice to hear good things out there in the world, but that we can't believe he's there, and you guys are so lucky, so we do feel very lucky.
I
Congrats
appreciate it.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, first off, I'm going to say thank you to Erica for stepping up with the bills. I just looked at my phone and Joe Carr did send a message, just so you know, that he texted during the meeting and said he reviewed the bills and everything was in order, and he did recommend that, we move forward and pay them. But Erica, thank you for stepping in. I would also like to, welcome you, Matt. I also have heard, a lot of positive things. So it's not only big shoes to fill, but now it's also your own shoes that you have to, your reputation is out there, so now you have to continue that. And Pat, thank you so much again. You stepped in at a very difficult time for us, and you did a tremendous job helping us through that, and now you've given us a little bit more time so that Sandy can get acclimated here. So thank you for that as well. Welcome, Sandy. We're looking forward to having you on board as well. And since our 3 presenters are still here, I will also make a comment from a non-educator, because we have some educators up here. From a non-educator and somebody who's been out of school for a little while, I appreciate the presentation. I think it was extremely well done. It was easy to follow, and it was very encouraging. And I love the fact that you guys are working to collaborate and teach each other to be better teachers. Because like you said, without, extra programming and things could change, you're teaching teachers to continue to educate everyone to the best of their abilities, and you can see it in the data. So I appreciate the presentation and all the hard work you guys have done. That's all. Thank you.
It was my treat to,
You're going to.
it was my treat to kick off Mr. Luminelli's tenure with us, with this board meeting. So yes, absolutely welcome to you. Same to Sandy DeCali. We had the opportunity of engaging with her a little bit at the last week at the finance committee, and it seems like she's a great person and she has a good mentor. So we're glad to know that that's the case. I want to echo sentiments for Pat. Pat, I've been on the finance committee 12 years, understand the importance of a BA. You pinched it at the moment that you came in. It was February, not an ideal time, but you just, not only did you keep us from not, drowning, but you've added some value. I've learned a lot from you these couple months, so we're very appreciative of your dedication and commitment to what it is that you do. Also, similar to what Ms. Goff was saying, at this point, all my kids have graduated from the school system. You know, the benefits keep on coming. My son Xavier played golf senior year here at the high school. Mr. Kolk was the inspiration for that. Even though he only did golf for that 1 year, and yes, we do have a golf team and the kids are doing fantastic. Xavier has been able to benefit from, you know, from that experience. He's working as a caddy, and last month he was one of the recipients for the caddy scholarship organization that they have. Besides it being a generous donation that he got for college tuition, there's a leadership program that's also attached to it. So again, just the benefits keep on coming. So very appreciative to the Hawthorne Public School System. Last but not least, want to plug in the sports camps. You may have seen ads floating around. We have a football camp, soccer camp, and a basketball camp. They're sponsored by the high school, by the school district. Not all of them are high schools. Some are for, I think the soccer one is from like 1st grade through 8th grade. But the cost isn't expensive, and it's a good experience for the kids. So definitely want to plug those in. Glad that they're doing that, and you know, hoping that that continues to be the case. With that, just want to wish everybody a good rest of the summer. We have private session coming up. So be resolved that the Hawthorne Board of Education convenes an executive. Yes. Go ahead.
I have one comment.
Please,
I
absolutely.
got a call from John Ferrero, who's the new Passaic County Executive Business Officer, this afternoon, to say that the state is wanting us to change where we put that additional expense money that we were allowed to have the taxpayers give us. And so I said to him, we had just done calculations to determine that the projected state health benefits increase would probably yield about $600,000 in unbudgeted additional expense. So we would have no problem in moving that money from our facilities costs to our health benefits expense, if that would satisfy what the state wants to do. It wasn't exactly clear from my conversation with John. He said he had been on a call with the state for several hours. It wasn't really clear to him what the state was doing, but we had to reply by July 18th about how we wanted to move this money. And there's a possibility that we could ask again for that $734,000 that we originally asked for, but he wasn't clear whether that would come to pass. But if it did, there might be a due date for the end of July. So there might be some updates coming on what's happening with the additional expenditure and tax incentive program that the state has offered.
So there may be an addition, and there may be an option to appeal it. Is that?
Well, it sounded like there might.
Yeah.
John said if there was that option, then we would most likely have to have another advertise for another budget meeting, for a public hearing on it. So I sent emails to the state email address that John suggested. I send any questions and things too. So I did that about 4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll see.
What line item does that sit in right now, currently?
Right now, what we did was we took that 300 and, I forget the exact number, amount, and just put it in 3 facilities lines.
Okay.
Some services, supplies, and our hope was that we wouldn't have to use it.
Sure.
And that we'd end up with being able to put it back into our maintenance reserve. John saying now the state has changed their mind
Yeah.
and they want the money to be spent on instructional salaries or benefits. And I said, well, benefits, we really, we're gonna need it for the benefits. So I sent that information to the state, that it was, we just had to move the money. We're gonna move it out of facilities into benefits.
We struggled so much with trying to figure out how much to increment it. Had we known that the health benefits was gonna be what it is, we would've gone for the
whole
yeah,
hog.
we would've gone for the whole enchilada at that point.
Yeah, but,
Anybody else?
so,
Mr. Balous?
Yeah, I'm extremely confused, and I'm trying to refrain from saying what I really want to say, but that's very difficult for me, if anybody knows me. Can you repeat what his title was?
John Ferraro is the new Passaic County Executive Business Official. So he's the kind of side report for the business administrator, just like Matt reports to the Executive County Superintendent. The business administrator reports to the Executive County Business Official. There's kind of been somewhat of a revolving door in Passaic County for the executive business official.
And because this is additional money that they let us go after out for the taxpayers without getting a vote, they can tell us what we can do with the money. And the fact that when we put it back into maintenance reserve, it's there for our emergency purposes when something happens like it did this year, and which may happen again next budget season, and now we're gonna be handcuffed because we have to expand instructional funding.
No, it's also health benefits too, though.
It's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
we're kind of going to be in a rock and a hard place, and every district that is in the state health plan will be in that same hard, hitting that nugget of facing a 32% increase in premiums in January.
And we only budgeted
And
for,
we budgeted for, depending on our one set of plans, 20% increase, and on the other ones, a 16% increase. So it's effectively almost a double. The one where we budgeted the 16%, the educator's plan, that's the majority of our district's plans. So we're likely January 1 going to be faced with having to come up with additional money. We're in some ways fortunate that we already have half of it that we really had planned on really not using, but it looks like we're gonna have to use it.
and you had to notify them before July 18th?
Before July 18, yeah, we had to say, yeah, we're gonna use it for some sort of salaries or benefits. So, you know, but bottom line, money is fungible, interchangeable. You know, we do, during the year, you see a transfer reports. We do transfer the budget among the different accounts. And we're allowed to do that as long as you don't transfer more than like 10% between certain groups of accounts.
So, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep going here, but,
I'm with you.
so, you have to notify them, which we did, of what we plan on using the money for. We may be able to go back out and now, after the fact, get more money from the taxpayers, as long as we tell them where we're allocating that. Could we also say that we're possibly gonna use that for benefits, but we don't know what the benefit increase is gonna be until January? Is that correct?
Yeah, and I've kind of drafted, if we decide to, if the state allows it, and we decide to go forward with it, I've drafted a plan that, you know, we need 650,000 would be for benefit increase, and then the remainder would go for additional paraprofessionals, because we always seem to need more paraprofessionals for, you know, IEP-driven needs. So,
So let's
but
assume-
I'm waiting to hear
Right.
from both John and the state. I mean, he called this afternoon, you know.
I'm sorry to keep asking you more and more questions, but
That's okay.
this will be the final one. So if we do go after, out for more money, and we get the extra money, and then in January, we're lucky enough that they don't raise 32%, then we would just have to utilize whatever's left over at that point.
We could move it around.
Okay.
Or just, you know, end up at the end of the year, you have surplus that can be put into the maintenance or capital reserve.
Extras are going up.
Yeah,
It's just
they
a
are.
matter of how much. Right.
And we already budgeted 16%,
Right.
and we do have 386 or whatever that was.
16%.
Yeah.
So,
So right now, we're probably looking at like a 300 and something thousand shortfall.
shortfall.
So, and we always under budget our revenue, we under budget extraordinary aid. And so during the year, if more revenue comes in than we expected, the board by resolution can bring some of that revenue into the current budget. You know, the downside is then it's not there to be carried over into surplus to the next year. And every year, we're planning on having $2 million worth of surplus flowing into the next year's budget.
Okay. So, and the state aid has been reduced, but they're allowing us to go to our local taxpayers to.
No, they still haven't, she's saying that it's not definite yet.
No, but I'm saying, but
Yeah,
the state aid,
reduced.
Yeah, but that's a fact though, yeah.
the state aid that
Yeah.
the state has and they allocated, ours has been reduced,
Correct,
but
yeah.
we can go after our local taxpayers to get more funding.
Yeah, because under their complicated calculations, they don't think our local taxpayers
Are paying
are
enough.
paying the share that they should.
Which they didn't approve when we submitted for that additional increment. So.
Yeah.
While they up our NJ educators' health plans
Yeah.
at the same time.
So, I'm,
So, to clarify, are they telling us this with, so it's July 15th, by the 18th, or are they suggesting it, or telling us what to do, or? Because it
John
makes
told
sense
me
now.
that I had to tell the state that I wanted to use the money for either instructional salaries or benefits.
They're telling me.
And
Yeah, they're telling us, and of
that,
course.
well, I had to tell the state that that's what I was
Sure,
going to do.
Yes.
And this is new
This
this
was
month
A
because,
call this afternoon.
yeah, earlier this month, the state budget passed and there was that 31 or
Yeah,
plus
and I'm not
increase in
sure,
benefits.
in my mind, maybe there's some relationship
Mhm,
that
mhm.
there's something with, you know, in the state budget that's, you know,
Okay.
making them revisit what, I mean, we had the approval letter from the state,
Yeah,
you know.
we're seeing school
And-
districts file for bankruptcy in the state for the first time. And I guess now they just feel,
So
tell us what to do.
I'll keep Alex informed
Yeah.
on any further developments. You know, it didn't sound like they're taking the money back, or, you know, because we sent the information to the town's collecting the taxes to pay us, so,
Pat, these are state level decisions, right? I know you're saying that
Yes.
a county level person contacted you. but
yes,
that's because
he's
they
the
were directed-
representative of the state.
Okay, so like, it's not just Passaic County. Other counties are getting the same directive with the same, it has to be benefits or salaries.
I assume so,
Probably.
yes, because John said he was on a phone call with the state about this. Like, first he called to give me a heads up around noon time that something was happening, and then later on in the afternoon, he sent me an email saying that we needed to do something. So I sent him an email back asking him exactly what had to be done. And his response was, you gotta ask via an email to the state email address where we had sent the original application for the additional expenditures. So I did that. I sent them an email asking, you know, what could we increase back to the 700,000 that the board previously
Right,
approved.
if we're changing the parameters of what we need it for,
Yeah.
because they're making us, we
Yeah.
need more.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay.
I'll keep you updated, but it's breaking news.
It's gonna be fun right up to your last day here.
Yes,
Yeah,
right up to the last minute.
Uh,
Okay.
Good. And, thank you for that, Pat. One last thing, Mr. Fogarty, we were expecting to have him here for this meeting. He's retiring. He's worked with the district for the last 10 years. He came on with Dr. Spirito, a true professional. Those of us that have sat with him in negotiations, he's second to none. So wishing him a happy retirement, and hopefully he hears this. Alrighty. Private session, be resolved that the Hawthorne Board of Education convenes an executive session to discuss exempt matters pertaining to personnel. Be further resolved that it is anticipated that executive session will be for 45 minutes duration and that public action may not be taken. Be it further resolved that the minutes of the executive session will be made available upon a determination by the board that the disclosure of the minutes will not detrimentally affect any right or interest of the board, and the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Goff, second by Mr. Palouse. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Vega,
Yes.
Mr. Carr, absent. Mr. Clavijo,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Miss Aaron-Trout,
Yes.
Mrs. Goff,
Yes.
Miss Milky Kotzen.
Stepped out for a second. Thought I heard her say yes.
Mr. Palouse,
Yes.
She's coming.
Mr. Tataro, absent. Motion passes.
Thank you.